Our poem is Daffodils, a famous poem by William Wordsworth, who was the poet of Romantic age. He was a poet of nature. William Wordsworth has often emphasized the restorative power of nature. Nature can create the restoration. So, in this poem, William Wordsworth got the beautiful sight of daffodils, and later on he was restored with that sight. Rather, this poem depicts the healing power of the nature. This nature has numerous healing power, and that has been beautifully depicted by William Wordsworth. Wordsworth was born on 1770 and died 1850. In 1802, he was on a walk with his sister Dorothy on a Gamwamen Bay, Elswater. There he saw daffodils, and there he decided that he would write a poem on daffodils, which was later published in 1807, and the revised edition was published in 1815. When originally the poem was published, its title was I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. Its title was not Daffodils, and it consisted of only 3 stanzas. 4th stanza was being added later. Each stanza consists of 6 lines, and it's a beautiful interpretation of literary poetic devices. So it's one of the best creations of Wordsworth. So now I'll explain line by line. Daffodils. He starts with I wandered lonely as a cloud. Poet is comparing himself with cloud. Now here the literary device that has been used is simile, because he is comparing himself with a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. So here poet is trying to say that like a cloud, he is aimlessly walking. Cloud has no definite direction to go over. Similarly, he is walking aimlessly. So I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. Vales is valley, obviously. So as clouds floats on valleys and hills, as clouds floats over valleys and hills, so in a similar way, the poet is wandering like a cloud, and the poem starts with a simile. When all at once I saw a crowd. Now what did the poet saw? He saw a crowd. Now crowd could be of men. Here in this line, Wordsworth again used a poetic device, hyperbole. When all at once I saw a crowd. So when he was wandering as a cloud, he saw a crowd all at once. So crowd depicts that the word crowd connect the line with this hyperbole. A host of golden daffodils. Now everybody knows that daffodils are yellow, they are not golden. But how did poet say that they are golden? Because he is comparing the crowd of daffodils with gold. It can be compared with gold. So he is telling, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. So he saw a crowd of golden daffodils. beside the lake, beneath the trees. Now look at the line. Beside the lake, beneath the tree. B and B are used. Alliteration has been used. It's a poetic device again. Here alliteration has been used because the word be is used in a couplet. Besides the lake, beneath the tree. So he saw a crowd of daffodils near the lake and below the tree. And when he is saying crowd, he is using hyperbole. And when he is saying beside the lake, beneath the tree, he is using alliteration. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Now dancing is very clear. What is fluttering? Moving quickly to and fro with the effect of air. This is fluttering. So can flower dance? No. But he has compared the dance of human being with the dance of the flower. Here again in this line the poet has used a new literary device. Here the poet has used personification. Like human being dance, so in that way the daffodils are dancing, and it is very clear that air is moving, because unless and until the air moves, the daffodils cannot flutter. So they are fluttering and dancing in the breeze. That was first stanza, I explained. Now we come to the second stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine. Here again the poet start the second para with a simile. Continuous as the stars that shine. So daffodils are like what? They are like the stars. And they are continuous as the stars are continuous in the sky. And twinkle on the Milky Way. So as the stars twinkle in the Milky Way. Very clear, we are living in the Milky Way. So as the stars twinkle in the Milky Way, so are the daffodils. They stretched in a never-ending line. So what did poet saw? That they are stretched along a line that never ends. He cannot see what is the end of the line of the daffodils. In his vision, in his view, as far as his eyes goes, as far as his consciousness allows, he can only see the daffodils, the golden daffodils, actually yellow, but he is comparing it to gold. The golden daffodils, fluttering and dancing. Along the margin of the bay. So along the bay, as there was a water body, along the bay, along all bay, there was the stretch of daffodils. 10,000 I saw at a glance. The poet saw 10,000 daffodils at a glance. Can anyone count flowers in one instance, in a glance? No. How did he count it? 10,000? So it's a hyperbole. When he says 10,000 I saw at a glance, it's a hyperbole. Neither he can count that there are 10,000 flowers. The poet is saying too many. So how to say too many? 10,000. So 10,000 I saw at a glance. So at one vision, at one side, never-ending flowers, and he is looking at 10,000 daffodils at a glance, tossing their head in the sprightly dance. Now what did he saw before this? They are fluttering. And now what he is looking at? They are tossing. Tossing is something giving up in a careless manner. So they are dancing in their full careless mood. They are tossing. The daffodils are tossing. Carelessly they are dancing this way, that way, in the effect of the air. There is no symmetrical dance. That's why the word tossing is being used. So tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. And what's a sprightly? Full of energy and life. So they are full of energy and full of life. They are dancing sprightly. And obviously I told it's a personification. So tossing their heads. Can a flower has head? Flower can't have a head. So tossing their head in a sprightly dance. So in this way, and you can see very obvious that the poem is full of imagery. So here we finished second stanza of the poem. Now we come to the third stanza. The waves beside them danced. Now there is one more dance. Dance of the waves. The waves of the water body are dancing with the daffodils. The waves beside them dance, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Now there is a comparison. Daffodils are tossing, daffodils are dancing sprightly, and the waves are also dancing. So there is a question, who is performing better? The daffodils outdid. The daffodil performed better than the dance of the waves. The daffodils outdid the sparkling waves in glee. So in the feeling of happiness, the daffodils are dancing with much more happiness and giving much more happiness than the dance of the waves. So here, in the eyes of Wordsworth, the waves are also dancing. They are also providing the sight of the glee. But if it is to be compared with the dance of the daffodils, it's incomparable because they are outdidding the waves. So they outdid the sparkling waves. The dance of waves is by any mean not meager. It's not meager because Wordsworth had used the word sparkling. They sparkle. Waves are sparkling, but daffodils are tossing and sprightly dancing. So on the degree of comparison, the dance of daffodils is much better. Their healing power is much more. Their beauty is much more. Their glee is more. The poet could not be but gay. So what one could be in this situation? One could be only happy. One cannot be in a pensive mood, in a mood that is off. And you just remember the starting of the poem. The poet was saying he was wandering as a cloud, aimlessly he was moving. So that's a sign of pensiveness. And now he came in what mood? In a happy mood. So the mood of the poem and the poet changed. So a poet could not but a gay. So in this situation, the poet could be happy only. In such a jocund company. The word, in such a extraordinary company. Now what is jocund company? What should we understand by jocund company? It's almost impossible to comprehend Wordsworth, but as far as my comprehension goes, jocund company consists of clouds, stars, breeze, valleys, hills, lakes. All this constitute the jocund company. This all is accompanying William Wordsworth. This all is accompanying the poet. So in such a jocund company, the poet gazed and gazed, but little thought. He was thoughtless. He was unable to think because he was absorbed in the beauty of the nature. He was just gazing and gazing. He was lost in the glee of the nature. He was lost in the beautiful sight of the daffodil. So he just gazed. He just looked along. Thoughtlessly he was looking at. His brain stops working. So he just gazed and gazed, but little thought. What wealth the show has me had brought. So this jocund company, this sprightly dance of the daffodils has brought me a wealth. Now how is it wealth? Because it will restore me. whenever I am in a pensive mood, this scene will always restore me as far as my memory is with me. Because this heavenly scene is a wealth. It will always create a positive impact for me. So this is what poet is realizing. That I was in a pensive mood, I was in an off mood, and now I am in such a happy mood that I lost almost my thought also. I'm just using my sense of sight. And poet also has not indicated that he can hear something. So the voices of hearing are very less in this poem. So he is only using his sight. He was lost in the beauty of the nature. So what wealth the show to me has brought. So poet has concluded that it has given me so much wealth. This was the original poem of Wordsworth, I wandered lonely as a cloud. And one more stanza has been added to it later. And actually that stanza is the essence of this poem. That tells us about the restorative power of the nature. For oft on my couch I lie. So oft is used for often. So often, usually when on my couch I lie, when my bed, on my sofa, whatever, on that I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood. So whenever I lie, I'm not happy. I'm in pensive mood. I'm in a bad mood. I'm in such a mood that I'm not feeling well. Or my mind is vacant. Now here poet wants to say that when you are thoughtless, when you don't have the image of the beauty, obviously you are in a vacant mood. And when you are in a vacant mood, that is a negative state of mind. So whenever I lie in a negative state of mind, often on my couch, they flash upon that inward eye. What flashes? Daffodils. The sight of the daffodils, the crowd of the daffodils, 10,000 dancing with a sprightly dance. That flashes. Where it flashes? On my inward eye. What's the inward eye? Inward eye is the eye of mind. So now the sight of daffodils is out because the poet is not there. But there is an inward eye. There is the eye of mind. There is the eye of brain. And that eye of mind, in that eye of mind, the sight of 10,000 daffodils comes, and which is a bliss of solitude. Now poet is vacant. Now poet is alone. No one is with him. He is lying on his couch. So it's a bliss of loneliness. In loneliness, what is giving happiness to the poet? Daffodils. Isn't it a restorative power of a nature? Just one side of a nature giving company in solitude, giving company in loneliness to the poet. And when my heart filled with pleasure fills, and then when he imagines the daffodil with his inward eye, obviously when he is lying in his couch in a pensive mood, and when in that case, just imagining at once, his heart fills with pleasure. And when his heart fills with pleasure, his mind dances with the daffodils. So what does poem says? That as the poet dances with the daffodil, he is in a jolly mood again, he is in a happy mood again. So isn't it a wealth? Whenever he wants in a loneliness, whenever he wants in a solitude, he just uses inward eye. He just have to be alone and the sight of daffodil will give him enormous wealth. So, just look at this last line, and dances with the daffodils. What figure of speech is being used here? Alliteration. Dance with daffodil. D. Dance with daffodil. So alliteration is again used. So in almost every line, poet has used poetic devices, and it's full of imaginary. So you can take its meaning wherever you want, but basically the theme of the poem, the central idea of the poem is the restorative power of the nature, which is being given to the poet by just one side. From aimless wandering, he got enormous wealth from one side of the nature. So, this is the wealth of the nature that the poet got. So, this was the explanation of the poem Daffodils. I hope you must have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening.